Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Dr. Joey interviews Christian business professionals just like you to discover their secrets for working faith positive in a negative world. Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett.
Hey, Faith Positive Nation, be honest now for just a second. And you don't have to say this out loud, especially if you're in the car with your spouse listening to this right now, right? What do you and your spouse argue about the most? Okay, is argue too strong a word for you? What do you have intense fellowship around? How about that? Is that better? What is the number one subject? Well, let me just tell you that 75% of all divorced couples, their number one issue that led to their divorce is the topic of today's Faith Positive Radio episode. Care to guess what that is? Well, let me introduce you to my new best friends, Bethany and Scott Palmer, who are known as the money couple. Okay, so now Faith Positive Nation, what do you think that number one issue is? Yeah, it's money. Even we Christians, right? We're little difference over arguments, right? Most of the time between Christian couples and other couples. Money is that central issue regardless of your faith perspective, right? So how do we responsibly handle money as a couple? And why does your spouse handle it so much differently than you? That's what we're going to discover today. So you're going to want to listen to this entire episode, watch it on YouTube, however you want to interact with it, but you're especially going to want to go to themoneycouple.com, right? After this episode and find out all kinds of incredible things. Faith Positive Nation, help me welcome Scott and Bethany Palmer. Scott and Bethany, thanks so much for being on Faith Positive Radio.
Well, thank you for having us.
It's great to be here.
Oh, we are so delighted to have you. So, number one issue, right? Even for Christian couples.
It really is. It's just amazing to us. And we actually started out as financial advisors. And we had a couple come in and to do their financial advising. And do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, sure. So we had all the graphs. We had all the stuff that was going to wow them. And we had been working with them for several years. We were kind of doing life together, good Christian couple. Kids were on the soccer field with our kids and the whole kit and caboodle. And they came in that day and the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. It was those conversations where you're like, did they get into a fight in the elevator on the way up? And so I just said, are you guys okay? And she said, actually, we're not. The reason that we're here is because we're getting a divorce and we need your help for us to split up the assets.
Hello. A little different than all those graphs you'd prepared, right?
Right. Yeah, those went right out the window because no one at that point cared. And so I was kind of staring at Bethany and she's staring at me and there's this awkward silence. And Beth kind of did the wife tap under the table, which is you ask them, not me. In my mind, it's so sad because in my mind, I was thinking, oh, somebody cheated on somebody or somebody has an addiction or there's, just more going on here. So I asked them, I said, well, why are you guys splitting up? Like, this is surreal. This shouldn't be happening. And he looked at me and what she said shocked both of us because she said, the reason we're splitting up is because we can't agree about money. And I will tell you, it blew my mind. First of all, we're the financial advisor. So, we didn't know what to do with it because we had never been addressed like that before. But it was interesting because they had plenty of money. They were doing everything great. He was worth millions of dollars. He had a tech company that was just killing it here where we live. And so money didn't even make sense to me because I'm looking at all these beautiful graphs that we prepared thinking money should be the least of your worries. And so we spent the rest of that time splitting up the assets and he left. And Bethany and I were talking about it that night. And we're big resource people. Like, we're going to find a resource that helps somebody. We'll search for hours to try to help a couple. And so we started researching online. Okay, let's help this couple. And we found plenty of stuff on getting out of debt. We found plenty of stuff on paying your house early, the perfect marital budget, all these things that we had used for years ourselves. But we couldn't find anything about love and money. We couldn't find anything about the relationship side of money. So the next day I called him and I was like, okay, you got to give me something more than we just don't agree about money. Like, you got to give me something tangible, because Beth and I were up all night trying to find resources, and we're striking out here. So give me an example. And he said, I'm going to give you two. I said, two is better. He said, the first one is coffee. And I was like, what? Did you just say coffee? You need some coffee, or was that your example? He goes, Scotty, every morning that I leave for work, she hands me a thermos of homemade coffee. He said, and I promptly put it in the seat and drive to my favorite coffee place and get my $6.50 cup of coffee, which is made perfectly for me every day.
Wow.
He said, she's been handing me that thermos for 20 years, and she knows I just leave it there because every day when I get home, it's full.
Well, I'm glad it was something important.
He was like, that is just ridiculous. Why don't you just brew it at home for 25 cents?
Yeah.
I mean, so the point is that, you know, she's just like, 25 cents is fine for a cup of coffee. He likes a $6.50 cup of coffee. So the
other example was lunch. And I have to give this guy huge props, because he could take a group out to lunch, and that's how he built his business. Just how to network. He just knew how to get guys around a table and ladies around a table that would collaborate, come up with ways to improve everybody's business and move on. But he said, Scott, every day I get home from work and I get these questions. Oh, hey, did you go to lunch? Well, yeah, I took out so-and-so. Well, how much did it cost? Well, what did you have? Did you pick up the tab? And he said, I get berated every time I come through the door on what I spent for lunch. And he says, I'm done. I've had it. And guess what? She's done and she's had it. And after 15, 20 years of this work, I'm out. There's no resource that you can give me that's going to fix this. And that put Bethany and I on a real journey to see really what was happening in relationships and really get an idea of where is the breakdown happening. Because if paying off your budget, paying off your debt, having the perfect budget, having your house paid off, if all of those things worked, then we would all do that, and our divorce rate in this country wouldn't be 50%, it'd be closer to 25%.
That's right.
So that's what we're all about. That's what we've addressed, and that's what we help couples understand, how they can actually agree about money and move forward.
So guess what's in my thermos cup?
Did you make it yourself?
That says a lot about you.
Right over there. Yeah. So I wonder which money personality I have. I did use a pod. I rarely use a pod. Usually I have the loose coffee that I put in there, which drops it from 70 cents down to 25 cents.
There you go.
That says a lot about you.
Yeah, a lot of self-revelation, right? So let me get my wife in here, and then you can explain me to her, right? Wow. It's just amazing. So often when we think, oh, there's divorce, one of them had an affair, like you said, or there's an addiction to some drug or alcohol or pornography, something, but it was about coffee and lunch.
Yeah. Right. And what happens is here's the interesting thing about money, is money impacts us every single day. Every single day. Yeah. And just about every decision that we make has a money component to it. I mean, here's a couple examples. I went to the gas station, and I had to decide, am I going to put the high grade gas in, medium grade, or low grade? Now, that's a car decision, but it's also a money decision because there's a difference in the cost. I had to decide, am I going to brown bag my lunch today, or am I going to go out to lunch? There's a money component to that. And plus there's a money component to just about every decision. We had to decide, are we going to put our son in club sports or just keep him in YMCA sports? There's a huge money component to that decision.
Sure.
So there's money components that are happening every day, all the time, and we don't always think about them as money decisions, but they are. And then if you see them very differently and you look at that decision through different lenses and don't understand each other's different lens, that's when arguments start. That's when bickering starts. That's when you start drifting away because you don't want those arguments, disagreements, and so you just
fellowship. Right.
So you just start distancing yourself from each other.
Right.
But the problem is again, money impacts us every day, all the time. So if you're distancing yourself in an area that affects you every day, it really hinders the relationship.
Yeah. And boy, that's so well said, Beth, because it's about coffee and lunch. We don't think about it as being about money. It's about coffee and lunch. So it's
Right.
about my ability to defer my gratification for a new suit to a time of year when I know that the clothing's going to be on sale because I've observed that retailer and what have you, as opposed to just walking in, buying something right off the rack, regardless of whether it's on sale or not. So that's where we go to war, right? How much do you pay for that? And so then the relationship devolves. And it sounds like what you're describing are withdrawals, right? From an emotional bank that is money is that symptom. So talk to us about the 5 money personalities you guys discovered. And this couple evidently propelled you into that, right? And I really think of these 5 money personalities as a part of our divine design. And when the 2 become one, right, as Paul tells us, it's a great mystery. And so help us understand the mystery of how we treat money differently and how we can grow together as a couple using different personalities.
Yeah. So basically what happened is after we had that experience, that couple, it was like the Lord just lit a fire under us. It was like, I'm going to give you some wisdom and perspective, but the only way you're going to get it is talk to every single couple that will possibly talk to y'all. So we did interviews. We sat down and did financial advising. We just tried to get as much from couples and figure out, okay, where are the points of contention? Where are people running into each other? And we took all of this data that we had and we actually gave it to a statistical scientist from Stanford and said, how do we quantify this? Like, how do we give couples the ability to fill out an assessment and to really determine what their money personalities are? And so out of giving him all of our data, almost 5 years of hardcore data, we came up with this assessment that basically found that people have both a primary and a secondary money personality. The primary one, most people go, oh yeah, you got me. But it's a secondary one where people go, oh, that's why I make that money decision. And the reason it's so important to understand your primary and secondary money personality is because the person that you're married to has a primary and secondary money personality. And what we have found, we've had over 300,000 people take this assessment online.
Did you say 300,000?
Yes, 300,000.
Wow, that's incredible.
Have come through this assessment online. We've only had 12 spouses that had the exact same primary and secondary. So when we hear this 75% divorce rate over money, we're not surprised because 90% of us, at least, if not 99% of us, are married to our money opposite. And so of course that percentage is so high. So what the 5 money personalities have allowed us to do is really say, hey, God made you just the way you are.
Yes.
God made you perfect, and God made your spouse perfect in the way he wanted to make them. Now we've got to get both of these money personalities to actually work together.
And you know what's really fascinating with all of our research is that a lot of people want to put their money personalities, the reason they are the way they are is because of their parents, in the sense of how they were raised.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
mom and dad get blamed for everything, right?
Right.
No kidding.
No kidding. That's for sure. What's very interesting to us is that we believe and know that God put these money personalities inside of your DNA.
Yes.
And either you are the same as your parents, or you very easily can just rebel against them because you are who you are. So I'll take myself, for example. So my mom is a primary saver, secondary security seeker. Okay, so she needs a plan with her money. So she likes to save it and she needs a plan. I am a primary spender, so I like to spend money. I also love to give gifts. I love to spend money on others. And my secondary is risk taker. So I love to take risks. I like new adventures, big adventures and small everyday adventures like a new restaurant or something.
You drive your mother crazy with your money habits.
Right. Exactly. We are so different. We are on the opposite sides of the spectrum. So the fact that she's a saver security, I'm not one. And so I would just rebel against her, always having to buy generic brands and always having to buy the cheapest and all that. I really rebelled against that. And we also have done a lot of study on kids and
oh, really?
another example of showing that, again, yes, we are impacted by our parents, but our money personalities are God-given. He made us that way, and that's something to be celebrated.
Yes.
And then when you come to it with that perspective, but then you both, if you're in a married situation and you're married and you appreciate the other person because that's the way God made them, wow, you have a foundation now of saying, okay, let's dive in and learn a little something about our differences. So now we celebrate them and be a better team.
Yeah, because we're back to that two becoming one, and it's a mystery, Paul said, but it's complementary, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what could be a liability becomes an asset.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we keep all things in balance.
Absolutely. If you can start gleaning from, if you can think, instead of thinking of your spouse's money habits that are different than yours as an annoyance, and you can actually think of them as a strength, and you can come alongside and say, okay, so maybe I'm a primary spender and my spouse is a primary saver. Well, the spender is probably a little bit more of the giver in the relationship. And so the saver can look at them and say, man, the fact that we give to our church, the fact that we give to all these Christian organizations is really their strength. At the same time, that saver can look at that spender can look at that saver and say, man, look at all the money he or she has saved us over the years. Look at the fact that we live in this house and it's paid for. And, there's a litany of awesome personality traits that come along with those primary money personalities. But when you're looking at it through a different lens, saying, you know what, that's who they are. That's the way God created them. That's the person that I married. And I used to appreciate those attributes. It's just as time has gone on, they've become annoying to me. You can absolutely turn a relationship around on a dime and start to look at the other person differently and start appreciating some of those things.
I know for myself, for example, our secondary money personalities are totally opposite. So I'm that risk taker and Scott is a security seeker. And so before we had discovered the money personalities, we, were coming into this constant challenge where I was like, let's go for it. And Scott's like, I need a plan. So that, and that played itself out in so many ways. I think vacations probably, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Vacations was probably our biggest, because after 4 years of going to the same place every summer, I was like, honey, please.
I thought we were just getting into a good rhythm.
That's it. The cadence felt normal to you after 4 years.
I thought it was great.
Exactly.
We're getting to know the people. It's great. And Beth's like, I am so bored. That's hilarious. Well, I've heard you mention a couple of the money personalities, right? Spender and saver. So unpack those two for us a little bit more and then give us the other three.
Sure. So the 5 are, you've got the saver, the spender, then you have the risk taker. So let me just say, the saver is all about savings, love to save, but the interesting thing about savers is they love other people to save too. It's not just, that person who's like gets a new, suit or something and they're like, yeah, I got it on sale for yeah, those are and you need to get that sale too.
That's right. If you were smart like me, you would know how to shop and when to shop, right? So there's always some braggadociousness behind the saving.
Absolutely. And then that opposite of that then is that spender. And again, they love to spend money on themselves. They really like, don't even mind spending money on groceries, things like that. But they also are very huge gift givers, very generous people. Those people that you say on an invitation to a party, you say no gifts, please. And then they bring a gift anyway.
Yeah.
People that
can't read?
Yeah. And the third one, so you have saver, spender, risk taker. Now the risk taker is a person who really likes to go for it. They like that new adventure. They like entrepreneurial thoughts. Like those big risks, like starting a business, but they also like those small everyday risks, like maybe a new restaurant or a new would be another example.
Yeah, I think of my son as a perfect example. He's a primary risk taker, and he told me he was going to buy a canoe. Actually, it was a kayak. And I was like, okay, I knew his risk taker was going crazy, and I just asked him, where are you going to kayak? Because where we live, there's no water for about 90 miles. And You know what? That's a good point. I have nowhere to kayak. And that's what risk takers do. They're always looking for something new, something different. And because we don't have a swimming pool in our backyard, I'm like, you can't even float that thing in the bathtub, so no kayak. But they're just always thinking of something new and exciting to do.
It looked cool, and I like the color.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, what's your problem, Dad? Okay, so we got spender, saver, risk taker. What's the fourth one?
Fourth one is a security seeker. Now, so a security seeker is totally opposite of a risk taker. They like the plan. They like predictable. They don't like that new and adventure, right? Exactly. So, that is really important to know that difference within yourself and so on. So spender or saver, spender, risk taker, security seeker. And the fifth one's really interesting. We found this whole percentage of society, there's a lot of them that doesn't really care about money. I mean, they really kind of fly by the seat of their pants when it comes to money. So we call those people, or that part of them, what we call a flyer. Now, the interesting thing about flyers is that they actually put relationship over money. So a great example would be my mother-in-law, Scott's mom. She's a primary flyer. And like, I'll say, well, let's go out to coffee. She's like, great. She doesn't say where. She doesn't care how much it costs. She doesn't care. She doesn't even think about that. Whereas asking a saver, they would probably say, hey, great, and I've got a coupon over at the coffee shop. So really think about money.
Right.
That's just the way God made their brain. It doesn't go to that first. So the reason why it's so important to do a study of each other is, especially if you're married, is because it's that combination that's so important. So you can have a person who's a primary saver, secondary spender. Interesting. You can have a person who's a primary flyer, secondary risk taker. So you understand both of those. You can't just hone in on one. You've got to really understand that combination and how God made you unique and special. So there's actually 20 combinations. There's 5 money personalities, but 20 combinations.
Right.
So understanding that, you could just understand the dynamics and how Scott and I mean, we used to just, I remember I would come up with these business ideas. And Scott would always shoot them down. And I never understood why he would shoot them down.
What's your problem, Scott? Don't you love me? Right?
But after we realized that was my risk taker talking and his saying no was his security seeker, we were able to come together and say, you know what? We've got to understand each other, and I can't keep saying no, and I can't keep coming to you with all these ideas at 10 o'clock at night because that's going to stress you out.
How am I supposed to sleep?
I just want to go to bed.
That's right. I'm tired. So of these 5 personality types, do you have a percentage breakdown? I mean, with 300,000 folks that have done it, which one's most common, second most common?
Sure, absolutely. 30% of people who have taken the money personality assessment, which, by the way, we have it for free online. But when you take that assessment, 30% are savers, security seekers, or security seeker savers.
Wow.
Then the next 30% are spender, savers, saver, spenders. So 30% of society is out there totally confused.
That's what I was thinking. I think my therapist friends would offer some medication for that
kind of and they're super confusing. I mean, imagine being married to that. Like, if you're a saver, security seeker, those money personalities are different, but they really complement each other very well. And so that 30% are the 30% that love the budgets, that love the financial plans, that love the deals. I mean, they're all about it. Well, that's 30% of the population. Then you've got this other 70% of the population that's going to struggle with that. And so, that's why we tell people, if one of you is into, a specific budgeting program or something like that, and you just can't get your spouse to buy in, they're never going to buy in unless they understand why they're buying in. They don't really have this, great need or want or desire to have this perfect iron tight budget. They just want to have a little flexibility with money. And so that the reality is that 30% of the population works one way, 70% of the population works totally differently than that.
Wow.
Oh, that's why you get the saver security seekers out there in the world. They're oftentimes deemed as the smart ones, the responsible ones. But the very interesting thing is like Scott said, 70% of people are not like that. So you've got this kind of war going on just in society.
Yeah, you sure do.
That saver security seekers are better. So wow, how powerful it can be when you understand who you are, you understand your differences. So if a saver security seeker is married to somebody very opposite, which opposites attract, we all know.
We do.
And then the opposites attack when she gets married.
And
so let's take that attack away by understanding your differences and using the pros of that other person's money personalities too inside of the relationship. Oh, it's so powerful. It's so
It's got to be. And Bethany, I'm standing here thinking about so much of the financial literature that's out there is written for the 30%, the saver security seeker. I'm thinking of David Bach's The Automatic Millionaire, for instance, when that first came out, give up that $6.50 cup of coffee and put the money, invest the money. I mean, that's 30% of the population. So I guess Bach found that 30% of the population, sold them a bunch of books, right? But then the other 70% of the people are out here like, you have got to be kidding me, right?
Exactly. There's a lot of programs out there that really speak to those money personalities, the savers. They don't legitimize and really affirm the other people, and the other people are made special and unique in God's eyes as well. So as an example, for what couples can do is if you know that one of you, let's say, is a spender risk taker, one is a saver security seeker, put in the budget, if you will, a spending account.
Some discretionary income, right?
Right. It's not, because what happens is the saver security seeker just holds on to every single penny and drives that other person away. Instead, embrace it and say, this is the way God made me. I need a spending account. I need to know what that amount is that's not going to take us over the edge, but it's going to give me a little bit of that freedom that I need in order to have, to feel good inside of the relationship.
I mean, financial goals are not that hard to accomplish if you understand your money personalities and you're playing to the positives of each of those money personalities. I mean, there's not a spender in the world that wants to be out of money when they get to retirement. Why? Because you want to spend money in retirement too. It's not like that need just goes away. So the financial goals, you can obtain those financial goals. You can check all those boxes that society tells us that we should check. And there's absolutely good stewardship. I mean, there's absolutely those principles apply. But when you understand your money personalities and you can give your spouse a little bit of grace and you can come up with a plan that's going to work for both of you, you're actually going to move that plan forward a lot faster because there's no friction in doing it.
And there's the secret in the sauce is A, understanding by taking your assessment, and B, giving each other a little grace. And I love the play money that's set aside because I know that he or she needs that. And then the saving money that automatically goes out and we never miss, right? Because we're on target for our goals. Wow, Faith Positive Nation needs this and wants this right now. So tell us how we can go to your website and take that free assessment.
Absolutely. Well, one thing that's really nice for all the Faith Positive listeners out there is we have a special page just for you. It's at themoneycouple.com. So that's our website, themoneycouple.com. But if you go to themoneycouple.com/faith radio, or excuse me, faith positive. So if you go to themoneycouple.com/faith positive, you please scroll down to the bottom and have access to three things. First of all, your free assessment, money personality assessment. Second of all, mastering money talk in your marriage, a wonderful program, low cost, wonderful program. And then if you want to step it up even more, we have a love and money system available. Scott and I have worked through our challenges and our differences, and we put that all in a system so you can really easily talk about money and not get into arguments. So we're just really excited to be able to offer these programs to Faith Positive listeners.
Oh, thank you so much. So Faith Positive Nation, if you're interested in arguing less or having less intense fellowship with your spouse about money, then you go to themoneycouple.com/faithpositive, and there you'll find those 3 great resources that can move you forward to having fewer arguments and more enjoyment with financial resources that the good Lord blesses you with. Faith Positive Nation always wants to know, Scott and Beth, about a favorite Bible verse or Bible passage of our guests. Do you guys have one?
Absolutely. One of our favorites is Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God your needs, and don't forget to thank him for his answers. And we even had that engraved inside of Scott's wedding ring. So it really means a lot to us.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. So why does that mean so much to you? I mean, Scott, besides the fact that she told you you were having it engraved in your wedding ring.
Well, it's a constant reminder, but I think the reality is in every aspect of our life, but especially when it comes to money, worrying is a major issue. God talks about money more than prayer and love. He knew it was going to be such an area of anxiety for so many of us. He knew it creates so many issues in our relationships. That's why he talks about it so much. And so the reason that we love that verse is because the key to being at peace with the Lord and your money is to basically thank him for what you have. And so by thanking him through prayer and petition, thank you, Lord. Thank you for the country that we live in. Thank you for the job opportunity that you've given us. It's really for us a constant reminder that we have to thank him, that we have to consistently pray and petition, but he's got it, and the money is all his anyways.
Oh, it really is. Well, I thank God for the 2 of you, because this is amazing work you're doing. 300,000 lives have already been affected, and now Faith Positive Nation is going to go to themoneycouple.com/faithpositive. Do this free assessment. We're going to avail ourselves of these resources that you so generously have offered to us. Thank you so much for who you are and what you're doing to save marriages, and let's just continue to turn back the dial on that divorce rate and increase the enjoyment people get out of the love of this mystery of 2 becoming 1. Scott and Bethany Palmer are The Money Couple, so go to themoneycouple.com/faithpositive, Faith Positive Nation. Enjoy yourselves there. Scott and Beth, thanks so much for the gift of your time and your wisdom today to Faith Positive Nation. We just pray God's manifold blessings upon both of you each and every day.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Faith Positive Radio, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Suggest guests and ask questions when you email Dr. Joey at info@getpositive.today. And be sure to get your free gift of the 5 positive business conversations to have today coaching program at getpositive.today. Until next time, may God bless you with everything your heart can hope for and more than your mind can imagine.